everyone! In this video I'm going to show you Anki add-ons which I use. I have few things to point out in the introduction. First, be aware that what we consider a must-have depends on our needs, preferences and priorities. Secondly, add-on selection always changes over time. In 2 years' time, I might use slightly different add-ons. Thirdly, this is part 4 of series Anki for beginners. Also please be aware that customized keyboard shortcuts add-on is not included here. I talk about it in more details in a separate video. If you decide to install exactly the add-ons I have, you will have few shortcut conflicts, but the only consequence is that these shortcuts will not be accessible. Please read the description, I put some extra information there because I just didn't have enough time to put them into the video. So let's start! First, I will remind you how the sidebar normally looks like, and that is how it looks like with the add-on. Don't misunderstand this add-on. All of the things that we see on the sidebar now can be accessed through the appropriate command in the search bar, or even by clicking on the filter button, but I prefer them to be visible on the sidebar as well. And by the way, in my videos I've never used filters, so let me briefly mention that if you have some search that you use often, say you want to search for mature cards, I don't have any in this dummy profile but never mind, you would go to Filter, Save Current Filter. Also notice that with this add-on you can collapse decks and nose types. You cannot collapse tags, but that's okay because I use another add-on for tags. Let's peek to the configuration. It's really simple. If you don't want some folder, say the folder with the mark cards on the sidebar, type false. Or if you don't want to collapse decks, again type false. And now I restarted Anki and the changes took place. Let's move on to the add-on that deals with tags. So let me remind you that you can drag and drop decks to organize them. It would be nice if we could do the same with tags, and this is one of the features of this add-on. Please notice that the hierarchical structure, whether regarding tags or decks, is expressed using double colon. You can add a new hierarchical tag by typing in the names separated by double colon. An add-on called Hierarchical Tags Tool also allows you to organize tags in this way, but at the moment, it's pretty much it. It doesn't even allow you to rename tags. On the contrary, the add-on I use has few extra features. For instance, you can quickly convert a tag to a deck and a deck to a tag. Also please notice that the deck tag conversion preserves the hierarchy. So if I click on Persian and convert it to a deck, two decks are created, cat and underneath Persian. And if I click on tag cat and convert it to a deck, then the tag cat and all the tags beneath will be converted to decks. Notice that we already have a deck called cat, so now we have all three breeds under the parent deck cat. I'm not sure if you came across parent-child nomenclature, so in case you didn't, a deck that contains other decks is called parent, and the decks that are under the parent are called children. And it's the same with tags. The author of this add-on uses similar jargon. He calls the entire structure parent-child a branch, and a single child is a leaf. So if I click on, say, Bengal, I can rename leaf, or I can rename the entire branch, which gives me access to the parent names as well. Another great thing about this add-on is that it basically takes the deck options that you had to access from the deck screen and moves them into the browser screen. Next, let's move on to Image Occlusion add-on. It allows us to make cards from diagrams. We can click on the icon and navigate to the picture or screenshot to clipboard, and then the add-on will automatically use that picture. Let's hide some information by drawing some boxes over it. Each box will correspond to one card, unless you decide to link the boxes together. Now only 3 cards will be created. You can edit the boxes, resize or rotate them. You can also click on the Fields button and add extra information, like header, footer, remarks, etc. Let's go back to the mask editor. On the side there is a layer button. The layer mask is the layer with all the boxes. The layer called labels allow you to draw and type stuff on the diagram, and this is basically equivalent to modifying the picture. Say you want to add an extra information on the diagram. Let's type something, insert a line, and now we can go to the mask layer and draw a box over the stuff we have written. And that will make us another card. So that gives us 4 cards in total. Let's finish by pressing Hide All, Guess 1. And this is the preview of the cards. Please notice the footer and the header that we added early on are on the front of the card, and the information from the remaining fields is on the back of the card. And here we see the difference between hide all guess 1 and hide 1 guess 1. Lastly, let's edit the cards. To do that, press Image Occlusion icon again. Now we can, let's say, reposition the boxes. Let's press Edit Cards, and the changes propagated to all 4 cards. Let's edit the cards again. When we delete one of the boxes, that will correspond to reducing the number of cards. The add-on will ask us if we know that, and now we only have 3 cards. And we don't even need to go to Tools, Empty Cards. Next, let's talk about LPCG. It is useful for memorizing enumeration lists, and it's a free substitute for Cloze Overlapper add-on. I encourage you to read the documentation. The link is on the add-on page, but we are only going to go through the basics. To make a new notes, go to Tool, Import Lyrics Poetry. Let's increase the line of context to 4. This means that maximum of 4 lines of the song will be shown to you. Lines to recite is the number of lines that you will be asked for. 1 is fine. I will explain lines in groups of in a second example. Let's leave it as it is for now. So let's go to preview. Now we see the note that asks you about the first line does not show any clue. The second shows you the previous line, and the number of lines given to you increases to 4 and then plateaus. So let's do another example. Now let's increase the number in groups of to 2. That means the add-on will group the song into 2-line chunks. So keeping the previous settings the same, 8 lines will be shown to you, and you will be asked to recite 2 lines. Please notice that each card comes from a single note. That is, we are creating many notes. In the documentation, the author explains why is that. The consequence is that there is no good way of editing notes once you make them. So make sure you copy-paste text to avoid spelling mistakes. Next add-on will be useful for spelling mistakes. It's called Spelling Police. On the add-on page, the author points out that our over-reliance on spell checkers makes us stupid. Point taken. I personally use the add-on for finding typos in English, but not for correcting mistakes, but it's up to you. Anyway, let's go to Tools, Dictionary Configuration. On my screen you will see some bdic files, but you will have nothing there. Files with bdic extension are dictionary files used by Google Chrome. You can either download them from the add-on page, or you can find them on your computer. I will post the path to these files for Windows below the video. Anyway, you need to click on Browse. It will open a folder in Anki called Dictionaries. That's where you need to paste the bdic file to. So navigate to Chrome folder, copy the files, and navigate back and paste. And now, if you try to use the add-on, it will not work, because the author makes sure that it's disabled. So let's go to Configuration and change the Auto Startup to True. Check during review enables for spell checking during review, and you will only need it if you have an add-on that makes it possible to edit the cards during review. Otherwise, keep it false. And then finally, the duck mode, which is the autocorrect mode. I have it off, but let's enable it so that you see it works. So let's restart Anki, and now we see the add-on not only highlights the mistakes, but also lists the words that you can choose from. My next add-on is Create Filter Deck from the browser. So it does exactly what the name suggests. Without this add-on, you will have to go to the deck screen to create filter decks. And you would need to remember the search, so normally you would go to the browser, copy the search, and then create the filter deck. With this add-on, you can just pull the search you want and press Create Filter Deck based on the search. Notice Anki will always add is due, and you may not want that. Also decide if you want to reschedule cards based on your answer. My next add-on is Resize Images in the editor. Anki does not have an option of resizing images, so you really need some add-on which addresses that. Resize Images in the editor add-on allows you to resize images by dragging. You can also go to Configuration and change Apply Maximum Height when not resizing to True, or Width for that matter. Now let's restart Anki, and now the images will be resized automatically to the height of 200 pixels. You can change that value in the settings as well. Next add-on is Z Frozen Fields. It allows you to freeze a field using this snowflake icon, and the content of that frozen field propagates to the next node. It is brilliant for inserting references. Next add-on is Popup-dictionary. As the author says, it allows you to quickly draw up related facts from the card collection just by double-clicking on the words or phrases. When you're done, just click out of it. An amazing add-on for holistic learning. Next two add-ons are especially useful for periods of intense study. First is the Enhanced Main Window add-on. What it does, it shows you a bunch of information about your decks. Let's look at the two colored columns. The one on the right refers to the total number of cards in a deck, and the one on the left refers to the cards you need to study today. Your goal is to turn this column magenta. A card turns magenta when it has been put through learning today and you are done with it for now. Red cards are cards in learning. Blue cards are new cards that you need to study today. Black cards are new cards that you have not seen yet. Essentially, you will only see black cards if you place a limit on your new cards. So let's go to the deck option. By default, you will only see 20 new cards per day. Normally, putting a limit saves you from being overwhelmed with revision, but before exam, you want to crank the limit to the maximum. Light green are young cards, dark green are mature cards. Last thing I want to mention is that I've seen some people don't like the colors, and I don't like the magenta myself, so let's go to the add-on configuration and change the magenta color so that it's less bright. Basically, we need to replace word magenta by a hex color code I took from a website. If you want to tweak some more, please read the description. If you mess up, you can always restore defaults. My next add-on is called Advanced Browser. Again, it's useful during times when you make lots of cards and study a lot. Normally, when you click on the header of the table in a browser screen, it will give you the ability to choose some extra columns for the table. For instance, you can sort cards by the date they were created or by the ease factor. With the Advanced Browser, you have two extra entries, Fields and Advanced. One of the most useful options for me under Advanced is Last Review and Percentage Correct. As I already mentioned, Advanced Browser add-on allows you to conveniently sort by fields. However, please notice, Anki does allow you to sort by any fields you want. So let's pick a card, go to Fields, pick the field you want to sort by, and tick Sort by this field. Last thing to notice is that if you opened many columns, then you need to tweak the width of the columns, otherwise they will get pushed to the right and you will not be able to see them all without using the scroll bar. I will discuss the next two add-ons together because they enhance one another. External Node Editor for the browser allows you to open External Node Editor window. To do that, you press Ctrl-Alt-E. You can customize the shortcut in the add-on configuration settings. Please notice that you can open only one editor window externally. That's when the other add-on comes in. So now I enabled Opening the same window multiple times add-on, and now I can have multiple editor windows open. With the last add-on, you can also open multiple browser windows. It's really useful for consolidating and improving your cards. I already told you that when you're learning some new topic, some of your cards will be bad, simply because you lack perspective, you don't know the subject. So it's important to improve your cards as you progress through learning, and these add-ons are brilliant for that. Next add-on is called Always on Top, and it does what the name suggests. It keeps Anki windows on top. So let's go to Tools, Always on Top, and now I can quickly make cards from books. Another add-on is called Mini Format Pack. These are the features of this add-on and they are self-explanatory. However, I want to show you my settings. I only left 4 things. The rest, for instance indentations, I never use, so I deleted them. Next add-on is called Review Heatmap. Each box represents a day. Grey boxes are the days with no revision, green boxes are days when you did some cards. The darker the shade of green, the more cards you did on that day. For instance, you can see I set up this dummy profile on 16th of November, and that's when I started making videos on Anki. It took me far too much time, but I hope someone maybe will appreciate my effort. Anyway, that's enough of melancholy. The add-on that I will tell you about next is quite specific. In a sense, you either need it 100% or you don't. It's a Quizlet importer. So let's go to Tools, Import from Quizlet. Let's go to Quizlet account, copy the URL of the deck you want to import. I unticked audio because I don't have any audio files in the deck. Then press Import deck. And now I have the cards in Anki. Before we finish, I would like to remind you, please don't install too many add-ons. It's a nightmare if you get an add-on conflict and you try to figure out what happened and why. This is a screenshot of a GitHub conversation. A user reports a bug, and I hope you get the joke. That's all I have for you today. Thank you for watching, bye!